Yes, hello everyone. Welcome, Tradies, to Mitch's segment, Just Quickly. Mitchell, who are we going to start with?
I've got Links told me that these are a real top of the pops for these four today.
Oh boy.
So Jackson's going to kick us off with the first one.
Very quickly, boys, specifically Sam, been going through the podcast in 2025. 29 episodes so far this year. 25 of those episodes have personal messages to the Melbourne Football Club from you, Sam McClure. What problem do you have with Melbourne? Let it be known that people thought Carlton were going to flag this year. Yet Melbourne are higher up on the ladder after having probably one of the crazier years in the AFL. Cheers, boys.
That was pointed from Jackson.
Missing the just quickly. That's all I heard. I didn't hear much of the rest of it.
I have no problem with Melbourne. I just have problems with underperforming football clubs, of which they are one. And Carlton are one.
Who's been the bigger disappointment this year, Melbourne or Carlton?
Very close. I think Carlton have been more disappointed than Melbourne.
From expectations going into the year.
Yeah.
I think they were both, as we discussed at length on this show, Melbourne had the chance to trade the guys at the end of last year. They didn't. They thought they'd buckle up again for another go. They haven't done that. Carlton had been building to this point and they've failed miserably.
Yep.
So to answer my own question, probably Carlton. Just.
Yes, I agree. And I have no problem with Melbourne. Got a lot of close friends who are Melbourne supporters.
And ironically, Melbourne have sacked their coach and Carlton have backed in their coach. Both had a year to run on their deal.
That is ironic. I would agree. Who's next?
Lucas.
Hey lads, just quickly, just heard a few rumours about Zac Bailey potentially requesting a trade back to South Australia. Pre-agent this year because he's a restricted free agent next year. Just wondering if you guys have heard anything. Cheers.
I had no knowledge of that. These are played cold to us. We actually spoke about Zac Bailey in the main episode of the show this week.
Mitch thinks he should be the highest paid player in the comp.
But Lucas makes a good point. Now that the Crows and Power have got this extra money they've been set aside for Nazar Wanganeen Millera, do they shift their thinking to a player like Zac Bailey?
Well, again, if you were Zach, you couldn't leave Brisbane for Port. You just couldn't. You could leave Brisbane for Adelaide.
Jeez, he'd be a nice cream on the top player for the Crows.
Yeah, 100%.
Imagine him weaving through the midfield with Rankin.
But he's not getting 1.4 at Adelaide.
No, he's not. No. He's not getting that at Brisbane, though.
Yeah, I think I'm staying at Brisbane. I feel like the next 5 years they could still win another 3 flags.
Yeah?
They've got a really strong age profile.
Do you think someone's going to tip out at Brisbane?
At some point.
Yeah.
They'd have to. They've got too many good players.
They keep finding, Zorko's still in great nick and he's 35, 36. They keep doing it. Morris is playing on his rookie contract, his draft contract.
Someone will tip out at some point, for sure.
Yeah. Jordan is our next, just quickly.
Just quickly, Jordan here from Hamilton, Victoria. Question for you, McClure. What is realistic performance-wise for next year? Are we contending for the top 8? Are we contending for a top 4 spot? Or are we just fighting to make the top 8? A follow-up question to that, McClure. If they could see next year by around 10 to 12 to 13 that this is, again, going backwards and we've had more losses than wins, will they be gutsy enough and ruthless enough to get rid of Voss by around 10 or 12, or will he continue to see out the season and finish off his caper and his contract? Thank you guys. Love the podcast. God bless.
Thanks, Jordan.
If Jordan's referring to you as just McClure, Jordan needs to bring his surname to the table. Maybe his surname is Jordan.
McClure. It's been a long time since I've been called just my last name. So I think this is why I think it's a risk what they've done with Voss, because I think they put themselves in a precarious position going into next year that if things aren't working by that point, I think Jordan makes a reasonable point, by that halfway mark, that there's going to be pressure on them to sack him if they're not. If it's round 11 and they're 4 and 7.
Gone.
Yeah. If they're 5 and 6, fighting for the 8. Again, I rate their list higher than that. I think you saw on the weekend up against, in fairness, not much. Teal, Witches hats, really. They've got more. They have got more depth on the list than people give them credit for. I don't think they're just their top 6. But I've always been a big believer, Mitch, as you know, you back your man or you don't. And I think they've hedged their bets.
Yeah.
And I don't like professional organisations hedging their bets. I think you lead one way and you go down that path until you can't anymore.
Because the conversation all next year is going to be, do they keep him or get rid of him? They haven't extended his contract.
No, and that's
and I think that's the conversation that Melbourne were having with Goodwin. Do we get into 2026 without an extension? It was either we sign him up for 2 more or we get rid of him. I think that was a big part of the conversation.
Yeah, and I while they'll be criticised for that, I think at least that they've made a strong decision. I'm not sure Carlton have. I think I mentioned this on radio a week ago. Graham Wright said in a piece with Michael Gleeson that we're ranked something like number 1 for contested footy, number 1 for clearances, but we're ranked 18th for kicking efficiency. And I think his point was we need to find more players who can kick the footy better. That's not a great sentence.
I think Graham Wright summed up every Carlton fan in the country right now that's watching their team.
Yeah, but when you play a style that is completely reliant on winning the ball in the clinches and moving it forward at any cost, it's probably not going to result in you being a high kicking efficiency team, is it?
No, because it's
just get the ball
get
forward.
and bang it forward. Yeah.
So you just got to wonder whether it's the chicken or the egg with Carlton. Just to answer Jordan's question before we get to our last one, what's realistic? I think they should be trying to finish top 6 next year. I don't think. I mean, it'd be a great effort if they finish top 4, and it'd be pretty humiliating if they missed the 8. So I'd say top 6.
Yeah. Dylan is our final air raid of the week. Just quickly of the week.
Hey lads, just quickly, I was thinking about the compensation picks for free agents, and I was wondering, for instance, say a Sam Draper, if Essendon was trying to get that band 1 compensation pick, and the salary wasn't quite meeting the requirements, could they pay part of the salary to push it into the band 1 compensation? Or is there any other sort of loopholes that allow for something similar?
It's a good question.
Cheers.
They can't, no.
Thanks, Dylan.
I've always thought the Brisbane and Essendon example this year, could Essendon give Brisbane something to try and bump up the deal? Like, do they give them a pick in the 20s or 30s to help them out? But every deal must stack up on its own 2 feet. So the AFL look at every deal in isolation. There can't be any little add-ons either side of it. So Brisbane must offer the deal for Draper. He's going to net a band 1 compensation, which would trigger a first-round compensation pick. Gee, I'd be stunned if the Bombers got a first-round pick. I think it's more band 2, end of first round for Draper.
Where does he go?
Again, back to our whole conversation we had on Naz. I don't have that information right now.
Oh,
Well, where do you think he's going?
I think 70% Brisbane. That's where my chips would be if we were playing poker.
Essendon 0%?
No, Essendon 10%. Crows 20.
Okay.
Is that up to 100?
Yes.
Great. Perfect. Good way to finish. We'll see you next week.